Happy holidays and welcome to the Origsburg Area Free Public Library. Today I'm going to read a chapter book called Dragon's Merry Christmas by Dave Pilkey. The first chapter is called The Perfect Christmas Tree. One cold morning, Dragon went out to find the perfect Christmas tree. He walked through the crunchy snow. He saw all sorts of trees. Big ones, small ones, crooked ones, and straight ones. Finally, he found the most beautiful Christmas tree of all. It was not too big, it was not too small, it was not too crooked or too straight. It was just right. Dragon looked down and saw the most beautiful brown trunk. It stood firm and strong in the frozen earth. He looked up and saw the beautiful green branches that waved back and forth in the cold December wind. Dragon could not cut down such a lovely tree. So, instead, he came back with colored lights, silver bells, and everything he needed to make his tree even more beautiful. That night, Dragon looked out at his Christmas tree shining in the night. It was truly perfect. Chapter 2, The Candy Wreath. One day in December, Dragon had a good idea. I will make a wreath out of candy, he said. Dragon took some old wire and bent it into shape. Then he taped pieces of chocolate candy all around it. When Dragon hung his candy wreath on the wall, one of the pieces of chocolate fell off. Dragon picked it up and ate it. It was very good. Dragon did not want his wreath to look bare, so he promised not to eat any more candy. I will only eat the pieces that fall off, he said. Dragon bumped his elbow against the wall, and 2 more pieces of candy fell off. Whoops, he said, and gobbled them up. Dragon sat down on a chair and looked up at his candied wreath. He tried not to think about the smooth, rich, sweet, creamy, dark chocolate candy. Dragon could not sit still. He began to drool. Suddenly, Dragon could not stop himself. He shook the candy wreath back and forth, and then he jumped up and down on it until every last piece of candy had fallen off. Dragon got a tummy ache from eating so much chocolate. Next year, said Dragon, I will make my wreath out of pine cones. Chapter 3, Mittens. Dragon was always losing his mittens. No matter how hard he tried, he could never keep track of them. Whenever he needed them the most, they were nowhere to be found. So, Dragon went out and bought a pair of clip-on mittens. He clipped them to his coat sleeve so he would never lose his mittens again. Then he lost his coat. Chapter 4, Merry Christmas, Dragon. Dragon loved Christmas. Every year he saved money, and every Christmas he bought wonderful presents for himself. Dragon made a list of things he would buy. Number 1, lots of food. Number 2, a new coat. And number 3, a big birdhouse. Then Dragon wrapped himself up in a warm quilt and headed off to the store. When Dragon finished his Christmas shopping, the store clerk loaded everything into a big sack or bag. There's his coat, there's his food, and there's his birdhouse. On his way home, Dragon passed some raccoons singing in the street. The raccoons had no food to eat. They looked very hungry. Dragon reached into his sack and took out a big basket of food. Merry Christmas, said Dragon. Then he passed an old rhino shoveling her sidewalk. The rhino did not have a coat to wear, and she looked very cold. Dragon reached into his sack and took out his new woolen overcoat. Merry Christmas, said Dragon, and they gave it to the rhino. Finally, Dragon saw 2 birds sitting on a branch. The birds did not have a home to live in. They looked very sad. So Dragon opened his big sack and took out his birdhouse and hung it on a branch for the birds to have a home. "Merry Christmas," said Dragon. When Dragon got home, his big sack was empty, but there was no presents left for him. But Dragon did not feel sad. He went upstairs to his quiet room and crawled into his soft, warm quilt. And later, as he slept, Dragon dreamt that he heard angels singing in the starry night. And there were the 3 raccoons, the rhino, and the birds singing Christmas carols to Dragon. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.